So you have to retell that one then.
Yeah, there you go.
Good.
All right, we're good.
Okay, great. Welcome to the Board Park Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, February 2nd. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers,
Here.
Mr. Emmerich,
Here,
Mrs. Westfall.
Here.
Okay. Disseminated to us prior to this meeting were our minutes of January 11. Do we have any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes?
none here.
I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes then.
I'll make a motion to approve. Oh. I'll second.
Okay, Susan moved and Jordan seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They stand approved. Okay, Mr. Drake, good afternoon. Do you have anything to add to your report today?
Just a few things here real quick, Mr. Cappers. First, if you notice on the last sheet of my report, it's the cost summary by work type. You'll notice building maintenance was one of our highest work item counts, and then tree removals, just further pointing out that this time of year that's taken up a lot of our time. The crews are doing a great job. We're making really good headway on our tree removal list and our tree trimming list for the winter season here. And then we've got another crew that's been working on some of our restrooms, the Duke Park ball field restrooms. They've gone in and painted all the partitions and sealed the concrete floors and did some lighting upgrades, and are now working on the barn in the park restroom with some painting and so forth. So all those projects are moving along really nicely. Also want to point out and thank our crews that have worked the last couple weekends. It seems like the last few weekends, actually, we've been hit with some weekend storms. All of our guys have done a really great job on snow removal and salting as needed. And then also our Float Troy reservations started yesterday for the tent rentals at Treasure Island. So the reservations were officially open yesterday. I know Matt Clifton's been busy. He's actually taken over that part of Float Troy this year. So to kind of ease a little bit of the burden from Carrie Slater, who was doing it last year. And we anticipate those to be filling up rather quickly. I believe we've got 23 dates on the calendar for the tents this year. So that is open now. And I believe with that, that's all I have.
Any questions of Mr. Drake?
No.
The King's Chapel Community Room, are there going to be some improvements there this summer, or is that going to be undertaken shortly?
Yeah, so that is a summer project on our project list. The roof on that building is original. I believe it was built in the early to mid 90s. So it is more than time to replace that roof. And that's something that we're going to do in-house with our staff this summer.
Great. Okay, anything further from Mr. Drake? I don't see Mr. Seiler on the Zoom meeting, so we'll move to Kyler. Do you, good afternoon to you. Do you have anything to add to your report?
Good afternoon. No, nothing to add. I would just say, first of all, a special thank you to Lauren Karch, the communications director. I've been working with her and on just updating the website, and she really took the lead on that, and turned out great. Added a few things as well, including a course tour with some video footage that we had taken last year. So I think that looks pretty sharp. So kudos to her for getting that put up, and we'll continue to make adjustments as needed to that. Inside, obviously, there's not a whole lot going on right now this time of year. So just had the carpet deep cleaned last week. So everything turned out well with that. But other than that, no, not too much.
Great. Any questions of Mr. Boer?
No.
Kyle, I don't know if you were aware of it. We sent out the letters to the two new committee appointees, Mr.
Yes.
Weaver and Mr. Zabo, so they should know by now.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. I've got no planning commission report. New business. We do have the grant for $25,000 from the Pella Corporation for the fitness equipment. Jeremy, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So you'll notice in the packet that you received, we've got one of the slides you received was showing the location We've chosen near shelter number 1 at Duke Park, noted in the red square with the arrow there, kind of right off the parking lot. We felt like the parking in that area, we wanted to stay away from the north parking lots back by the ball fields and the Timba mountain bike trailhead because of congestion in that part of the parking lot. So we felt that coming in and turning left to the south and heading into this parking lot would be a good location for it. You'll notice one of the slides you have kind of shows an overhead. I believe it was like page 28, shows an overhead of what the structure itself is going to look like. And this will be, we're going to actually place this on a concrete pad. We're looking at a concrete pad approximately 30 feet by 30 feet. So it's a rather large structure. And it's mostly body weight type exercises. So there's not a lot of moving parts. Not a lot of things to go wrong with the structure itself. So we feel like this is going to be something that really lasts for quite a long time and we get a lot of service life out of. You will notice on that same overhead that I was referring to, there is a logo that's shown in the bottom left-hand corner of that concrete pad. We are looking at approximately a 36-inch logo. It would be the Pella logo. Originally, there was talk of signage or what that would look like to just note where that came from and what the grant was all about. We thought just the logo either stamped or heat taped onto the concrete. And we're still working through some of those details to see whether it's going to be an actual concrete stamp or the heat tape. But that would be, like I said, approximately a 36-inch logo in the corner of that concrete pad. I think other than that, like I said, it's an all steel powder coated structure. I think one of the slides shows you the different stations that it's going to include. And we hope to, it looks like this could potentially be here if we get the order rolling, and it's coming, I believe, out of California. This could be here by the end of March. And so we're looking, weather dependent, we could be looking at an April, May possibly timeframe for the construction to begin, for the pad to go in and the structure to go up.
Great. Does Pella want any sort of ribbon cutting or anything like that?
I've not heard that. I imagine we would do some sort of dedication, and maybe Stan or Mr. Titterington would have more information on that. But I'm sure we'd do some sort of dedication.
Okay, great.
The plant manager did email us just asking what our timeline was. I think they are anticipating wanting to do just a little dedication when everything is safe and ready to go.
Mr. Titterington, was the plant manager also okay with the location?
Yes.
Great. Good. Any other questions of Mr. Drake? We need to take a motion to accept the grant. So Susan or Jordan, you want to make a motion accepting the $25,000 grant from Pella?
I can make a motion to accept the grant from Pella.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Grant is accepted. Mr. Titterington, would you have somebody in your office send a thank you card from the park board if we haven't already done that?
We will definitely do that. Probably the mayor can do that. I would ask that you do a second motion authorizing that the equipment be installed at Duke Park.
Sure. I'll make that motion to authorize the placement of the Pella equipment, Pella sponsored equipment in Duke Park.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Thank you. Next, we have a consideration for the listing of events at Prouty Plaza. We were given in our packet a listing of events. I don't see a Susan there, Sue there, or who wants to entertain this discussion? Who wants to make the presentation?
Coming. Okay. This is a list of items, events that may be held at Proudy Plaza or other park locations. As you'll notice from the list, we tried to do as much as we are anticipating at this point. We are very hopeful that these events do take place. I can tell you, we were really excited when the representative of the Air Force Band of Flight actually called to ask to be penciled in at Duke Park. We thought that was good news. So
Good.
we are hoping that these events take place. We are even hoping that we come back to you and add some through the year.
Oh, that'd be great. Let me correct something. You said Air Force Band of Flight at Duke Park. Did you
I'm
mean
sorry, Treasure Island Park.
Treasure Island? Very good. All right, great. So are you looking at a motion approving those dates at our park?
Love to have that you would approve these dates, locations, knowing that there could be some adjustments, but we'll keep you advised if there are changes.
Okay. Susan, Jordan, either one of you want to undertake that motion?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yep, I can make a motion to accept the proposed list of events and dates for Proudy Plaza for 2021
Another park property.
and other park property.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's adopted. Thank you, Sue, for the presentation.
You're welcome, Ms. Brief.
Okay, next, we've got item number C, and that's a recommendation by Mr. Titterington. Did he just leave the room?
You did.
I'll be right back.
Okay,
Right back. What are we talking about?
Treasure Island use agreement.
Okay, yes, Treasure Island use agreement. These are concert dates that we are hoping to have at Treasure Island. One or more may include the sale of adult beverages. These have been recommended for approval by the Recreation Board also. 25th is one in conjunction with the American Kings, and there'll be no alcohol to be sold. July 4th, we're looking forward to something again by maybe a joint effort of the Chamber of Commerce and the Troy Rotary Club. They've had an outstanding July 4th event there in the prior years. And the last would be a August 7th concert by the city, the Motown Sounds of Touch. So we were asking that the Park Board recommends also that these Treasure Island use agreements be authorized by council for these three dates.
any questions of staff? I'll go ahead and make a motion to go ahead and recommend to council that the non-ticketed use agreement be used for those three dates, July 4th, August 7th, and June 25th, if the one's necessary. The first two being with adult beverages.
And I will second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that stands approved. Okay, next on the agenda is the discussion of Bruckner Park. Who wants to lead that discussion?
I will. Rochelle Vi, I'm the library director. And so we're just, I guess, picking up where we left off. I believe we were scheduled on the April 2020 Park Board meeting. So we'll just pick up here a year later. We would like y'all to consider a gradual transfer of ownership of the park to the library in order for us to proceed with the planning of a new building. When we had last met, you had requested some visual representation of what the building might look like. And this is what we came up with in cooperation with LWC Architects out of Dayton. We spent a lot of time making sure that we took into account the historic architecture in the downtown area. We didn't want a building that stood out in any significant way. We wanted it to more blend in and just be more of a, well, not ugly. Just a nice, historically accurate, pretty building, honestly. So and I think that's what we came up with. This building, the way it's oriented, the building would be where our parking lot currently sits. The green space would be moved to the front, which is similar to what Kettering, Hayner, and the courthouse, they're all situated further back in their blocks. And then the parking lot would be where the park is now. What that does for the green space is by bringing it onto Main Street, you now have more of a downtown park. Right now, Bruckner's kind of a hidden park. I see it every day, so I see the usage or lack of usage that it gets. We use it at the library a lot, but you don't see a lot of people sitting and eating lunch there or hanging out. And I think if you brought it to the front, you'd get people from Moeller or Dunaway's or other downtowns walking there and eating lunch, and it would be a nice place to spend some time right on the downtown corridor. So that's kind of what we were thinking when we were going about this building project. So we are happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I think the last time you came before the park board gave you support for the undertaking. And I don't think that's been diminished at all. At least from my perspective, it hasn't. I think that the building looks nice. I like the way it's set up on the lot. I'm not quite sure what you want from us today, though.
I guess some kind of assurance that if we go ahead with our planning processes, that down the road, if we come to an agreement that we'll be able to use this parkland, then, we don't get, halfway through a building campaign and find out that all of the city's changed its mind and we can't use the park space and everything that we've done 3 years of work.
Sure. I think the
Yeah.
avenue you want to take is a memorandum of understanding.
Yes.
If
I
you've
think
got
that
one
would be helpful.
prepared, get one to us and we can go ahead and adopt it at a park board meeting. And I think, Martha, you might have given some salient points to us in an email. If you want to incorporate those in a memorandum of understanding so we can take a look at those. We'd have to pass that by our law director, of course. And we've got time before the next park board meeting to do that. I don't know what your time frame is. Jordan, Susan, do you have any comments about, has your position changed any in respect to the library's construction?
No, it hasn't. I like the design. I like what you're saying about bringing the park kind of to the forefront. I know there's some discussion about the gazebo last time when we originally had that. And, I guess, better understanding that timeline might give us an idea of maybe how to address that. I think that was the Rotary Club's gazebo that they put some.
Yeah, there was some discussion the last time about how we're going to continue to honor Mr. Bruckner and thank the Rotary Club for their past donation and things like that. What is the board of the library thought about that? What's going on there?
I think we need to know what the city's intentions are with the gazebo. Again, it's been a year, but we had, if I'm remembering correctly, I think there was some discussion about moving the gazebo to Treasure Island, unless I made that up.
We did talk about that. We
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about it. We
Yeah.
didn't know how feasible it was, though.
Yeah, so, that's fine with us. Whenever it gets moved is fine.
But basically you want Bruckner Park then to use your parking lot, right?
Eventually, yeah. And
Okay.
obviously we're going to keep as many of the trees as we can. The smaller ones, we've been told we can move to the front. some of the larger ones will be part of the parking islands that we're required to, to have.
Well, if you
Um,
want to incorporate the gazebo in your plan, that's fine, but if you can't,
I don't think we can.
I'm okay with that
thing's
too.
huge.
It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's huge. I think the point we were making is that the Rotary Club and Mr. Bruckner should have some sort of recognition for space somewhere, somehow,
Sure.
whether it's outside, inside. And we didn't know what you were proposing on that issue. But maybe that we can put that in the memorandum of understanding after you
Sure.
met and looked at that. Jeremy, do you have any thoughts about what we're talking about here?
I know one of the things that this is going to be a gradual process, as Rochelle said, and in talking to Martha Pryor, we're probably sounded like at least a 3 to 5 year, and Rochelle, you could correct me on that if I'm wrong. So I know this isn't something that would be right away. So even in the MOU, we would need to look at how maintenance is transitioned, and
Yeah.
we're okay. We've been, it's our park. Obviously, we do all the maintenance there now, so it's not going to be a burden to us to continue to do that. But those are things I think to consider in the MOU for one, the timeline we're looking at. We know it's kind of a medium range plan of transition, and then kind of the use and care as we move kind of through that transition period. I think the other thing, like you said, Mr. Cappers, and maybe even we need to circle back to Rotary and see. I know there was discussion previously about what exactly they were okay with, kind of their input on it. And we did, in fact, talk about the gazebo at Treasure Island. Now that the Rotary Club has an investment in our pollinator project just north of Treasure Island, maybe that does make sense to kind of transition the focus there. But again, I guess that goes back to Rotary and what they're comfortable with and kind of want to see moving forward. So I think those are all kind of the key components that I see that need to be considered in the MOU. And then I guess also, Mr. Cappers, you had mentioned are we looking at the library to draft the MOU and bring that to us, to the board for consideration, or is that something that we need to be looking at on our end?
Well, I think they want to go, they're asking us for something, so they ought to present us with something. They present us with the memorandum of understanding. We take a look at it, we pick it apart if necessary, we just, we add to it, whatever. Before we can go and approve it, we need to take a look at it, have our law director take a look at it as well. So I don't know if you've got an attorney on retainer or something like that that could prepare something along those lines, but if I think that's the avenue to do it. Mr. Titterington, a question for you. This memorandum of understanding would be approved or rejected if it's approved by the Board of Park Commissioners. Would that be a recommendation to council, or, and I'm looking at the protection of the library board here, that they don't want anybody backing out of the deal. I don't want council to say that we didn't have the authority to make such a memorandum of understanding. What's your position on that?
We will confirm with Grant, but our understanding is that that ultimately will have to go to council to get passed, because the land transfer would also go through the council. So even if it's a 3 to 5 year window, you want to have that discussion with council sooner than later. And the memorandum of understanding would be something that would confirm it probably as best as possible.
So Rochelle, what would happen is that you'd prepare the memorandum of understanding. We as a Board of Park Commissioners would take a look at it. We get the advice and counsel of our law director and Mr. Titterington concerning its contents. Once we approve it, we make a recommendation at a park board meeting to council for its approval. And that would give you the confidence that the city won't turn tail and run. Okay,
Sounds good.
sound like a plan?
I will say one thing, and Jeremy, I think we've talked about it. It has been a long time, but I think we confirmed that trying to move that gazebo anywhere was not going to happen.
Yeah,
So,
correct.
Something
You're
would,
right.
if something were to happen out at Treasure Island, it would be something to replicate it, not to just pick it up and move. That's a monster.
It's an all
Right.
concrete, all concrete structure, concrete and brick. I believe the only like timber framed or wood frame structure is the roof itself. really no way to move the actual structure. So you're correct.
But we do have a rock with a brass plaque or some sort of plaque on it. That could be-
Yeah.
And an emblem in the middle of the gazebo too. There's
Right.
yeah.
Perhaps that can be incorporated someplace in your plans.
Mhm.
Jordan, Susan, you have any other issues?
No,
on-
that's the only question I had is how feasible that was. And if it's not feasible, to try to reuse anything that we could possibly reuse. And if that's just the plaques, that's just the plaques.
One just real quick along that lines, was there any thought, Rochelle, to the use of the ornamental iron fence that's there now around the park? That came up, actually, one of our guys brought that up in our staff meeting yesterday. Mentioned, I guess that's the only remaining piece of the school that had been on that lot. I didn't know anything about that, but maybe historically that's something to consider.
We had talked about just moving that to the front maybe. And just having that be around the front, around the park in the front, you know.
Sure.
I would love to see that get reused.
Yeah, I don't think that's something we need to get rid of for sure. I don't know why we would do that.
Okay. Yeah, I just.
Well, why don't you put that as a matter on your MOU
Keep the fence, yeah, we will keep.
and
the
how you're going to
fence.
incorporate that into your plan?
Sure.
Good point, Jeremy.
And would you have any issues, since I have you all here, with us discussing with Jeremy, possibly adding some at our cost, some additional seating to the park? We use it quite a bit for permanent seating. Maybe some of the benches that are similar to what you put in the downtown.
No, just if you're going to donate seating for that park, that's okay. Just as far as location, talk to Jeremy.
Yeah, I don't want to make mowing difficult or anything like that.
Right.
So,
Anything else, Rochelle? Martha?
yeah.
Great. Jordan, Susan, you have anything else to come before the commission today?
Nope.
No,
Mr. Titterington, did you have anything else?
Sure.
Jeremy, anything else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting then.
I'll make that motion to adjourn the meeting.
and I'll
Okay.
second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you for your attendance.
Thanks.
Right. See
Thank
you next
you.
time.
Thanks, everybody.